hurts, like you just said right there. It's developing consistency, and it starts by continuing to grow a culture where guys feel like this is a place where I can come in and grow and develop and get to the top of my level. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not only about developing guys to play for you, but it's if guys don't feel like they have a shot at the big leagues, it might be a little harder for them to come and commit. Like we were talking about with receivers earlier. You have one guy drafted in the first round with Philip Dorsett since 2016, I believe it was, and then you said Restrepo. I think he fell a little bit further than people thought, given the combine concerns. But he's drafted. I mean, he goes undrafted this year. KJ Osborne, like not too many guys coming out of Miami and going on to the league to develop consistency. So setting them up where guys can believe they have a shot at that next level is also just massive at bringing those guys home.
Yeah, well, you make a good point about I think if you see guys go to, a group of, let's say back in the day with Miami with tight ends, Greg Olsen, you had Kellen Winslow, we have, all these guys, they set the standard for Miami tight ends. And now we're seeing that a little bit more right now with Iowa with tight ends, with Kittle and Noah Fant, guys like that. And now I think Ohio State's done that over the last 10 years with receivers. You got Garrett Wilson, Jeremiah Smith is copying, the Chris Olaves of the world and all those guys. And it feels like that's the trend of how it's going, where you see these guys, you see these programs that they're so good at developing certain talents. It's going to motivate these guys and these young guys. They have the universities have the track record. They can promote their track record. Hey, we developed Garrett Wilson. We developed Chris Olave. We're developing Jeremiah Smith right now. We're promoting more guys that could then get more receivers to come to these schools. And I think the more wins Mario gets, the better it will be at, overall. And I think we're seeing that right now with the offensive line. When Mario came over, I think he's done a fantastic job with the O-line. And we're seeing that kind of pay off when you get the number one offensive tackle commit in the country. I mean, that proves at least that Mario's building something in some department with the offensive line, with the defensive line. I think if he can expand that to the quarterbacks and to the receivers, there's Miami can be this top contending program for years to come. They can be a program. They can be this, I wouldn't say obviously not blue blood, but a program that can be in the CFP every year, that can be neck and neck with Clemson every year, and then be with the big dogs in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where you want to get. You want to get to. I mean, we keep harping on it, but consistency is so important in college football because building a culture, building something where players believe they can come to and develop and play their best with you is so important. And reach levels, play competitive football, play winning football, and know they have a culture and a fan base behind them that's as strong as Miami. Miami has the fans behind them. Like I think this is one of the most popular brands in college football. It's just about like using all that you've built with your history and trying to consistently kind of bring it to now. Like Miami has such a deep history, but it's about kind of trying to leverage that into stuff now when a lot of these people, a lot of these kids, a lot of these high school people they weren't born during the 2000s. Yeah. They weren't born in the early 2000s. Obviously, they weren't around there in the 80s, like 80s and 90s. Like they haven't seen it during their lifetime. Neither of us have seen it during our lifetime. So like, it's kind of getting forgotten when you're not coming back and you're not putting yourself on the world stage on a consistent basis. And that's where Miami's got to get to, where guys are seeing them on that big stage consistently.
Yeah. I think Juan he kind of encapsulates what we're talking about here, that the guys from Broward and Dade, losing those guys, they hurt the most because they're in our backyard. These are guys that are at Miami Northwestern. They're guys that are, they're from Pembroke Pines or Plantation or at American Heritage. These are St. Thomas Aquinas. These are schools that are right here. They're in our backyard. We're no more, we're anywhere between 10 and 30 miles from these schools. These are places. These are, places we should have like a absolute pipeline that streamlines them consistently to Miami. And unfortunately, we do lose a lot of them. You lose a guy like Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, we're going to keep saying it because he's the best player in the country. Right? In my opinion, he's the best player in the country. That it does hurt. So I think we just have to continue to act like who we are, that we're the U, that we are, you know, we're a brand, we are a brand. We're absolutely a brand. There's no doubt about it. We're if they have to continue to act like it, and they have to continue to, I guess, move on. And I think Mario, because in year 4, the more that we have with Mario, I think that the better we'll be, and Mario will keep us in a spot where we're this an every year team, in that kind of spot. And I think we're seeing that, and we'll even help with NIL because we have the money. A school like FSU may not have the money. We have the money.
Yeah, like, and that's such part of being such a big brand is that we we have the money. Uh, no, but yeah, I mean, especially in this new NIL world where like you're able to throw it around. Now, I know there's a cap on it with the given the recent House v NCAA case, but there you even though it's legislated and it's regulated, you're now allowed to actually give these give players contracts and brands, and for with as big as Miami is, like you're going to have that shine. It's a big city. It's a great city. Like being around here, you're gonna have so many opportunities to come, and it's about showing that to the players and showing that so you can bring them in and show them the opportunities that if you're great here, it's you get enshrined forever around here. So it's showing them how being great here can be lifelong thing. Winning here is like a lifelong thing. Like flipping it to the NFL, it's like if you're a Cowboy, that sets you for life. I mean, you see how many people in the NFL have broadcasting jobs because of it. So I think just showing that brand and showing how powerful it can be post college, regardless of what opportunities you get outside of here, is also just as important as the on field opportunities, especially with NIL.
Yeah, and Mario's got another 2 guys that he's looking at least this weekend, or he's waiting on this weekend. Blake Stewart and Tyreek Green, both guys that are committing this weekend. None of them are from our backyard. I believe they're both from Georgia, but they are these are both big names that Miami's been doing a really good job on. He's at least trying to get these guys, and I think that if he can maybe get one of them, I got no complaints with that. But my point is that Mario's got to he's that these are these weeks, although they are small because we're 8 weeks out, or however many weeks out to week 1, they're big weeks for the program. They're big weeks that if we can land a guy and we can develop into something, these guys can change the way the U looks even more for years to come. I mean, you see
Yeah,
that with other schools all forever. If you just get one of them. I know I saw something about Blake Stewart potentially. I saw the Cristobal at Clemson. Whatever, wherever he commits on over the weekend, best of luck to him. But if he can come to Miami, I got no complaints with that. He can. We'll show him a good time over here.
exactly. Yeah, and even though it feels like nothing's going on right now. Like these are the weeks before the season really kicks in that you gotta kind of really get on the phones, be talking to all these prospects because like you don't want to like there's so much going on during the season. It's like you use this time and use these opportunities that you have right now to kind of truly get these guys on board. Get as many of these big prospects as you can on board because you don't want the season. It gets a lot trickier trying to balance that and balance putting a great on field product together. So it's using this time you have before the season kicks off the Cristobal is going to be so important to bring these big prospects.
Yeah, and one more hope, maybe a guy like Lamar Brown. My eyes, one of the 5-star defensive tackle, a guy that you can. It looks like he might go to Texas A&M. A&M's got a lot of they're big on getting the defensive linemen. We just saw it with another defensive lineman they got over the weekend. But I think if it was Bryce Perry, right? But if we can get a guy like Lamar Brown to come and flip to Miami, again, it continues to prove who Miami is. And we had it last year with Justin Scott. And when we got Justin Scott, I felt like Mario's doing something. We got Jordan Lyle as well, both guys from Ohio State, flipped to Miami. Now it looks if he can get Lamar Brown, who I know looks like A&M is where he wants to go, but if he can flip into Miami, Love Lamar Brown. I think he'd be an incredible piece to an already amazing defensive line, and he'd continue to build it for years to come. I think it'd be just tremendous if we got a guy like that. And I mean, that's what these weeks are about.
Yeah, I mean, just using these weeks to flip guys, switch commitments, do whatever you can is, use these weeks so importantly. I mean, even last year we flipped the Canes flipped Hayden Lowe, 4-star edge. Building through the trenches, building that defensive line because, I think that's really where this team is gonna, make its money for year. The way you build in year out anywhere is through the trenches. When you have the trenches, when you can control the ball. I sound like an old man here, but when you can run the rock and really could get control time, I think that's where you build consistency from.
Yeah,
it really comes from the trenches.